Just over 200 years ago, in 1820, a baby girl was born who was destined to change the face of healthcare. Born into upper-class British society, Florence Nightingale was not your average Victorian lady. Her family's affluence could have easily afforded her a life of luxury and leisure, but Florence, ever the maverick, had a different vision for her life. She was a woman with a rebellious streak, defying the societal norms of her time. While other ladies her age were busy preparing for their societal debuts and hoping to secure advantageous marriages, Florence was developing a deep fascination for the world of nursing. It was an unusual path, especially for a woman of her status, but she was not one to be deterred by societal expectations. Little did the world know, young Florence was set to shake the very foundations of medical practices. Can you imagine a life dedicated to the service of others at the cost of personal happiness? Enter Florence Nightingale, a woman with an intense calling. Born into a wealthy British family, Florence was expected to marry well and lead a life of leisure. But the universe had other plans. Instead, she felt a deep pull towards nursing. She was drawn to the idea of healing, of providing comfort to those in pain, even though it was considered a lowly profession at the time. Her parents, as you might expect, were less than thrilled. They had envisioned grand balls and high society, not hospital wards and the sickly. But Florence was not one to be deterred. She was passionate. She was determined. So she packed her bags and headed to Germany, where she received her training in nursing. Florence was ready to bring her new knowledge back to England, not knowing that destiny had other plans. What does it take to become an icon, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times? It's now the Crimean War. Our heroine, Florence Nightingale, found herself in the midst of unimaginable suffering. Imagine a hospital, not as we know it today, but a place of filth, disease and despair. This was the hospital at Scutari, a scene that would have made the strongest stomach churn. But Florence, undaunted by the grim circumstances, rolled up her sleeves and got to work. She believed in the power of cleanliness and proper care, and she was determined to bring about change. Armed with a scrubbing brush in one hand and a fierce determination in the other, she began to clean the wards from top to bottom. But it wasn't just her cleaning efforts that made a difference. Florence realized that the soldiers needed more than just medical care, they needed hope. And so, as darkness fell each night, she would walk the dimly lit corridors of the hospital, carrying a lamp to light her way. Her nightly rounds became a symbol of hope for the wounded soldiers. They saw in her a beacon of light in the midst of their darkness, a symbol of compassion and care in a world consumed by war. This nightly ritual earned her the affectionate nickname, the Lady with the Lamp. The image of Florence, lamp in hand, walking the hospital corridors became an enduring symbol of nursing. It represented the tireless dedication and selfless care that is the very essence of the profession. Florence Nightingale was more than just a nurse. She was a beacon of hope, a symbol of compassion, and a testament to the power of determination. She believed in the power of cleanliness and care, and she fought tirelessly to bring about change. So what does it take to become an icon? It takes courage, dedication, and a heart full of compassion. It takes someone like Florence Nightingale. In the midst of chaos and despair, Florence Nightingale lit the way to recovery. How does one woman's determination lead to a seismic shift in medical practices? Well, let's dive right into it, shall we? Florence Nightingale, a woman of grit and gumption, was not one to just accept things as they were, especially if they were less than ideal. During the Crimean War, she was appalled by the unsanitary conditions in the hospitals. She couldn't stand by watching soldiers die not from their wounds, but from diseases like cholera and typhus, which were rampant due to poor hygiene. So what did she do? She rolled up her sleeves and instigated a major cleanup operation. She made sure that the wards were cleaned, the bedding was fresh, and the soldiers had clean clothes to wear. She even went as far as to improve the ventilation in the hospitals. Florence knew that cleanliness was not just next to godliness, it was a matter of life and death. But Florence didn't stop there. She was a woman ahead of her time, employing the power of data long before it became trendy. She meticulously collected and analyzed data on the number of deaths in the hospital and used statistical evidence to demonstrate the positive impact of her sanitation reforms. The numbers spoke for themselves. As the cleanliness improved, the death rate fell dramatically. Her pie charts and diagrams didn't just win her arguments, they saved lives. And let's not forget about her innovative use of the polar area diagram, or as we know it today, the pie chart. This was a crucial tool in her compelling presentations to the military and political leaders of her time, helping her to secure the necessary funding and support for her reforms. In the end, Florence's determination and innovative approach led not just to a decrease in deaths during the war, but also to a fundamental shift in how medical practices were conducted. She demonstrated that care for the sick went beyond just treating their wounds. It was about creating an environment that promoted healing and prevented disease. Florence Nightingale was not just a nurse, she was a game changer. What does it mean to leave a legacy that continues to inspire generations? Well, Florence Nightingale, Our Lady with the Lamp, knew a thing or two about that. After her heroic efforts in the Crimean War, she didn't simply hang up her lamp and call it a day. No, she had a vision of changing the face of nursing forever. So in 1860 she founded the Nightingale School of Nursing at St. Thomas Hospital in London. This was the first secular nursing school in the world. Up until this point, nursing was generally seen as a lowly, unskilled occupation. Florence, however, had a revolutionary idea. She believed that nursing should be a profession with a standardized education and rigorous training. The Nightingale School was a breath of fresh air in an otherwise stagnant field. Students were provided with a year-long program taught by doctors and specialized nurses. The curriculum was comprehensive, covering everything from anatomy and hygiene to patient care and ethics. This was a radical departure from the norm where nurses often learned on the job with little formal training. But Florence didn't stop there. She also pioneered the use of a probationary period for new nurses, a practice that is still common today. This allowed students to gain hands-on experience under the supervision of experienced nurses. Florence was a firm believer in learning by doing, and this principle was at the heart of her teaching philosophy. The impact of the Nightingale School on modern nursing cannot be overstated. Today, nursing is recognized as a vital part of the healthcare system, with highly skilled and well-trained professionals. We owe much of this to Florence Nightingale and her revolutionary school. So how's that for leaving a legacy? Florence Nightingale didn't just change the world, she equipped others to do the same. From the wards of the Crimean War to the classrooms of the Nightingale School, her lamp continues to illuminate the path for generations of nurses to come. What can we learn from the life of this remarkable woman? Florence Nightingale, a woman of profound courage and determination, has left an indelible mark on the world of medicine. She didn't just revolutionize nursing, she also transformed the way we perceive and practice healthcare. In the mid-19th century, hospitals were grim places, riddled with disease and filth. Florence, appalled by these conditions, instigated a series of sweeping changes. She championed the concept of sanitation, introducing hygiene protocols that drastically reduced the rate of infection. Her insistence on cleanliness and proper ventilation has saved countless lives and forms the bedrock of modern hospital sanitation. Florence was also a pioneer in the field of nursing. She elevated it from a menial job into a respected profession. She instilled in her nurses a sense of duty and compassion, teaching them that caring for the sick was not just a job, but a calling. This ethos remains central to the nursing profession today. Perhaps one of Florence's most significant contributions was her use of data and statistics. She was one of the first to realize the power of numbers in healthcare. She meticulously collected and analyzed data, using it to improve patient care and hospital conditions. This laid the groundwork for evidence-based medicine, a cornerstone of modern healthcare. Florence's influence extends beyond medicine. She was a tireless advocate for women's rights and education. She broke barriers in a male-dominated field, paving the way for countless women to pursue careers in healthcare.